You found it. Your home for the best content on your favorite team, the Fighting Tigers of LSU. Do us a favor. Subscribe to the channel. Leave your comments below. And be sure to smash that like button. All right, y'all, Wednesday kicks off the early signing period, a massively consequential day for the future of LSU football. I know it's a busy time for Shea Dixon. He's good enough to join us. Shady, how are you, man?
I'm doing well. How are you, Matt?
I'm doing awesome. All right, let's start with Kade Phillips. For those that missed it, the 5-star cornerback out of the Houston area flipped to Texas today. What can you tell us?
It's a blow, right? I mean, they had locked in and have locked, a commitment from the number one corner in the country, DJ Pickett. They've got the number one corner in Aiden Anding in Louisiana. And then you went out and got Kade Phillips. And right when Corey Raymond got here, he had kind of prioritized Phillips, who at the time was ranked as a safety and being recruited by Texas at safety. And he said, no, look, the future's kind of at corner. This is where I see you. And even despite that, he committed to Texas. But about 50 days later, he flipped and said that, look, I want to play for Raymond. I do want to play corner. I want to be at LSU. And now he soared all the way up to the number 4 corner in the country. So you had 2 top 4 corners committed. And lo and behold, Texas, over the past month, really, Matt, has been coming after him time and again. Obviously, NIL conversations are involved. And each time LSU had countered. And it even as early as, last week, at the end of last week, I talked to Kade and on record said he was signing with LSU next week and was down with Texas. And then Sunday, Texas comes again with the biggest push yet and left him kind of thinking over things. And now 24 hours out from signing day, he flips back to the school he was originally committed to as a kid out of Texas. So it stings, but makes it all the more important to get Pickett and Anding on Wednesday and then dive into the portal and make sure you're getting at least one instant impact corner.
How do they replace Phillips either in this class or in the portal?
I think this class is a little late, especially even more so replacing someone of his caliber. So I think it's going to be the portal. Now, a lot of guys we're seeing put names in. The portal doesn't open until the 9th. And if you're an underclassman, they can't have contact with you yet, or you can't actually be in the portal. You can just say you're going in. Mm-hmm. But I will say that about an hour after that Kade Phillips news broke, a Florida corner who Corey signed a year ago put his name into the portal, and he'd started 2 games as a true freshman this year, gotten hurt, and then missed the rest of the season. But him going into the portal, I don't think right after the Phillips flip, even without it, I think that would have been one that had he gone in, keep an eye on. Now I say even more so because he's a guy who Raymond recruited to Florida. He loved. He was the number 3 corner in the country a year ago, and now he's in the portal, and LSU's very much in need of a corner that can kind of help out immediately, given Zy Alexander is on his way out.
Yeah, that would be Jahkeem Jackson, and you and I are probably talking to some of the same people there. It seems like LSU is going to be pretty gung-ho to try to get him in Baton Rouge. We'll see how it all plays out. Shea Dixon on 3, the Bengal Tiger, on Twitter at Shea Dixon. Okay, Pickett was on campus Friday to Sunday. What's the latest there?
Did you say Jahkeem? You broke out there for a second.
Sorry. So DJ Pickett was on campus Friday to Sunday. Pickett. Yeah, what can you tell us is the latest there with Pickett?
Yeah, the weekend went about as good as possible. I mean, Patrick Peterson in as a guest captain and DJ making it in with his dad and them not visiting anywhere else, right? The weekend before signing day, he spent Friday to Sunday in Baton Rouge, and then the dead period hit. So that's exactly what you wanted. And around noon, shortly before they were going to depart, we got word about DJ Pickett's dad, Damien, got with Steve Wiltfong at On3 and gave pretty strong words about, hey, everything went well. This is where he wants to be. He's locked in. We're ready for Wednesday. And kind of picking up pieces behind the scenes. Not that they're not going to keep trying here. We've seen a little bit of everything from every school here, as even Michigan, goes out and is about to flip, it appears, one of Bama's other 5 stars. So, but with Pickett, it seems like he's in a spot where he's going to go ahead and say, hey, look, to everybody else, look, we've gone back and forth long enough. I'm going to go ahead and go to LSU. And certainly after losing Underwood, and this was before losing Phillips, but after losing Underwood, it made Pickett even more of a priority, right? Just given he was the highest ranked guy in your class now, but also a position of need. But the gut punch that is recruiting, let alone in this NIL era, Matt, is, and I shared this on the Bengal Tiger, it was within an hour of when they kind of broke meetings with DJ Pickett on Sunday, and everything was good, and the phone rings, and Kade Phillips lets them know he's having second thoughts. So it's like as soon as you feel like everything's good there, and now you turn, and there's another fire to put out that ultimately ended up being a flip.
Jahkeem Stewart's the other big name, obviously, that we're going to keep an eye on. He'll announce on Wednesday. Shea, he was supposed to visit Ohio State, right, for Ohio State, Michigan, ended up not making a visit this past weekend. Last week after you and I spoke, and you mentioned Steve Wiltfong, he put in a prediction for Southern Cal. Seems like there was a lot of momentum there. Is that the momentum that you're hearing, that Stewart Southern Cal looks like the match?
It is, which is wild, because, and I've said this all along, look, let's figure out at the end, and we're not even there yet, it's tomorrow, but where Stewart's actually leaning, because Ohio State was considered the team to beat, Oregon was considered the team to beat, LSU's the home state team, and then obviously USC was a team that even national analysts thought, and it's probably the team running fourth, and they get them onto campus and roll out the red carpet, and suddenly they're in the lead. And they had reports out of USC that they had lost some D linemen, flips, 5 stars at that, and just kind of with where they're at right now with Lincoln Riley, and they are in a need for D linemen like LSU were a year ago. So I think that they kind of have, NIL-wise, made Stewart the kind of priority of the class. We also saw Juju Lewis, their 5-star quarterback, flip away. So I think it's one of those things where, and we could talk NIL all day, and I don't want to get into that and say that's a deciding factor, even, what do they call it, pocket watching. I'm not going to comment about what kids may not get, because I don't know the contracts. I hear things. But to me, it does seem that between everything, even just his interest in the program, that USC probably has an edge on LSU. And look, you've got Frank Wilson on it. I mean, this is a guy who's been on him since 8th grade, basically. And the conversations this week, I just don't think were enough. Like, it's an uphill battle. I think that they were fighting to where it was Ohio State and it's Oregon. Now it's USC. And I just, if you're reading it from the outside looking in, it just doesn't seem like there's ever been that LSU true interest after he reclassified that he had prior. So, barring something crazy tonight, I guess, I would probably just brace myself that he's probably going to go to USC, which is the reason all that buzz came out a week ago after he left campus, and then did not visit Ohio State, didn't visit LSU, and Wiltfong reported for On3 that both Ohio State and Oregon don't expect him to pick. So I think we can kind of put the pieces together as to where that's trending.
Shea Dixon On3, the Bengal Tiger. I got a couple more, Shea. By the way, I would assume with signing day obviously be a huge day for On3 and the Bengal Tiger. Do y'all have some type of sign-up deal for signing day or anything like that coming?
Yeah, that's what everyone's. If you want to join in right now, $1. It's not all pain, but as kids hit the portal and you lose some guys late, this is the wildest NIL stretch we've seen yet. But for $1, you do get a week, and then it's less than a cup of coffee for a month. But that does carry you through the 9th, which is the day the portal opens. So whatever kind of answers we don't get and we don't find out through recruiting in the high school level, I think pretty quickly here come the 9th, we're going to find out who's leaving, who's staying, and certainly who they're going after in the portal.
We've talked a good bit about Derek Meadows and Mike Tyler, a couple other guys that we're anticipating would leave the class. Latest there, and any change there with Meadows, the receiver, or Tyler, the tight end?
No, all expectations are Tyler will stay home. He's from Columbia, and South Carolina's been recruiting him, and I don't know if he'll just announce it on signing day or what. He kind of lays low, but that's not a shock, right? It's like if a Baton Rouge kid suddenly got recruited really heavily by LSU in a year where they were playing really well, and the program's sort of on the upward trajectory, and he wasn't previously, right? Like, we've seen that all the time. They get offers late, and they push for him, they get on board. So that won't be a shock. Very good player, but we've already seen him hand out one portal offer to a more blocking tight end, but there's some immediate help needed there with tight end, certainly. In that regard, Tyler being more of a pass catcher. And they've got J.D. LaFleur committed, who is definitely a blocker but can also pass catch. But that's what I'm looking in the portal for. Meadows is one of the, I can't call it. It was Notre Dame, and then it wasn't. And then it was LSU or Bama, and then he delayed it. And then it was LSU, and then that was July. He hasn't visited since. He was supposed to come in this past weekend and didn't visit again. And everyone thought, oh, well, he's kind of got a connection to Bryce Underwood. He visited. He'll definitely go to Michigan. Well, now Michigan doesn't expect him to come. So we're back to the whole I want to play in the SEC thing. And look, I've got trusted sources at Bama who wouldn't lie to me, and I feel the same about LSU. He's not decommitted from LSU yet, but he's also not done talking with Bama. So I think this is one where they're probably taking it all the way to the end to see how things look between the two teams kind of on the final night, and then say, all right, we're either going to Bama or LSU. But look, he was supposed to visit LSU, didn't. Supposed to visit Bama a week ago, didn't. So for a kid from Michigan who plays in Vegas and is now sort of back and forth on where he's going to land, from talking to people, even the coaches are kind of like, yeah, well, I could give you a guess, but the sources aren't feeling good enough either way to say. But I would lean Bama. I think that at this point he would shut it down and say, I'm done, if he wasn't really trying to entertain this until the end and potentially flip.
Shea, last thing for you. Signing day always brings surprises. What or who should we keep an eye on Wednesday as a potential surprise?
Yeah, if anything crazy happens with Jahkeem Stewart, that'll be one to watch.
Sure.
But the one that everyone's buzzing about today, and I'm getting calls about Solomon Thomas, who is the five-star offensive lineman. He's committed to FSU and has been for a year. But they fired Atkins and a number of coaches. So right now there is no O-line coach. So he was really like, and they were never winning a game this year. And he would do an interview after every weekend and say, I still love it. This is where I've wanted to go, all of that. Well, he's in a sticky spot now because they don't have an O-line coach. So he took a visit to Florida, took a visit to LSU in the past few weeks. And now Florida's really, per sources, they've lost confidence. They don't have much confidence when, on the flip side, the kind of schools involved are saying, hey, watch out for LSU here. So that's the one I'm watching tomorrow, is if does he sign? Does he wait to see who FSU hires as an O-line coach? Or could that be the flip they pull off, a five-star on signing day one, where we've seen Brad Davis do this before with five stars late in the process. A year ago, obviously, with Weston Davis and A&M, they went through a coaching change. Granted, Norvell's not being fired, Matt, that I know of, but losing the O-line coach or position coach who you're closest with is something that's going to make a kid pause if you have to sign this week.
Shea Dixon, On3, the Bengal Tiger. Remember, you go sign up at On3 for $1 for a week. It's a good time to do it with signing day here. Get by On3, the Bengal Tiger. Shea, I know it's busy, man. Thanks for carving out time as always, man. All the best.
Anytime, Matt.
Hey, thanks so much for watching. Please leave your comments. I love to interact. And be sure to hit the red subscribe button below.